Hola y bienvenidos a Elemental Codes de Language School. Me llamo José y soy el lingüista barbudo. Y hoy vamos a hablar sobre los números 11 a 1000. ¿Ok? Puedes encontrar esta lección y otros recursos en nuestro sitio de web que es www.elementalcodes.com. Alright, so hello and welcome to Elemental Codes Language School. My name is Joseph and I am the Bearded Linguist. And today we're going to go over numbers 11 through 1000. And you can find this lesson as well as other resources on our website, which is www.elementalcodes.com. All right, so let's get started. This one, I don't know if it'll be longer or not. It seems like it would be longer, but I actually just started it over because I got to the end slide and it had, for whatever reason, I don't know why, for the end slides have like two of the little camera bubbles on it, and I'm like, why? But I didn't see it when I was editing, and yeah, so I had to start all over. But that's all right because I was having some coughing issues. All right, so got some water now. It's probably not going to go away because this kind of stuff happens when you're recording. But whatever, it is what it is. I'm not gonna like edit this anymore. It takes too much time, so I'm just gonna try to give it to you straight, and it's gonna have junk in it. It's all good. I don't care. All right. So this is what the entire lesson is over, and all the lessons together, and then I'm breaking it down into the smaller lessons 0 through 10 mathematics. This is right here is where we're at, which is numbers 11 through 1000, and then next lesson will be 1001 through 1 billion. All right, and then we'll have a quiz, like a little quiz, just to try to help you to think of how to say stuff. And we'll revisit some of this stuff in a later one when we talk about dates and times and years and stuff like that. So don't get too worried about all these. Don't get too obsessed with learning all the numbers. Just try to learn the patterns, and it'll eventually click. I assure you. It's really hard in the beginning because it's completely different, but it'll click. All right, so here we have numbers, los números 11 a 20. So we have numbers 11 through 20 right on this slide. All right, so we have 11, and you want to make sure that you go back to pronunciation where the vowels are a, e, I, o, once, once, once. And the reason for that is because in English we have different sounds for the O. We have like, let's say the O in O, the O and O. All right, like oh, I didn't know, Or you have the O in like words like October. All right. So in this one, we have a tendency, some people more than others, but we have a propensity to say once, and it's not once, it's once, once. All right. And on is a good example. We have the O sound like ah and on. So in this one, it's once, once. So you might get in the habit of saying once. It's not once, it's once. So just practice that one, and then do your best. People might they should understand what you're saying. So I will say the word like slowly and kind of like give you the pronunciation of it, and then we'll go into a quicker way of saying it so that it sounds more native like. You're not going to sound completely native like, but unless you start like using Spanish every day, and then you become better and better, and you're always studying and you're always learning and you're always working on pronunciation, you can get to the level of sounding like a native. It takes practice. It takes a lot of practice. So all right, so 11 is once, once. 12 is doce, doce. 13 is trece, trece. 14 is catorce, catorce. 15 is quince, quince. 16 is dieciséis, dieciséis. 17 is diecisiete, diecisiete. 18 is dieciocho, dieciocho. 19 is 19, 19, and then 20 is 20, 20. All right, so you'll notice with 16 through 19 that it has DIEC, which is literally 10. The Z in 10, which is diez, changes to a C in these forms. And then it has, like, if you remember from the first lesson, we talked about Y. Y, if you see Y by itself, it means and it could also change to an E in certain circumstances. We talked about that in the first lesson. But in this case, it changes to an I. So you might see it as an I. But these become one word. So it's diez is 10, E is and seis is 6. So it's literally 10 and 6, 10 and 7, 10 and 8, 10 and 9. So that's how you would say 16 through 19. All right, and you'll see that also with 21 through 29, which we'll see in the next slide. All right. So we have 21, and as I was saying, it drops the E on 20, and it adds the I for and it adds 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 all the way up to 9. All right, and it becomes one word. So there are several words that do this in numbers. We have 11 through 20, 11 through 19 really, 21 through 29, and then the like 100, 200, 300. They don't have the and, but we'll see it in the last slide or one of the last slides where they join together as one word. Okay, so 21 is 21, 21. So it's literally 20, 21, 21, 21, 21. Okay. So you'll hear it really fast, 21. All right. 22 is 22, 22. Notice the accent, 22. Okay. That's where you stress is the accented vowel. 23 is 23, 23. 24 is 24, 24. 25 is 25, 25. 26 is 26, 26. 27 is 27, 27. 28 is 28, 28. 29 is 29, 29, and then 30 is 30, 30. Okay, 30. All right, and so you want to learn how to pronounce these. You want to learn them, it's hard in the beginning to like pronounce certain words. For some people, it's harder other words than, for some people, some words are harder than others, and, other people, those words are easy. So you might be pretty good at pronouncing these, but just real quickly, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and then 30. All right, so that's 21 through 30. All right, so los números 31 a 100. So this is 30 through 100, and we're obviously not going to go through every single number from 31 to 100, but I'm giving you a pattern. All right, so 31 would be 30 y uno. So this is kind of what it looks like, and as I said with the 21 through 29, the Y changes to an I, and they join both words together. Why they do that, I don't know. I honestly don't know. So maybe that's something I'll look up, and I'll try to figure out why that happens. Excuse me, I'm gonna drink some water. All right, so it's just, it is what it is. So with the good news is that 30 through 90 was going to follow this pattern. So it'll follow the, obviously the beginning, 30, 30, 30, 40, 40, and then it'll have E, and then 1 through 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so it's going to follow that pattern, so that makes learning 30 through 90 fairly easy. All right, you just have to remember. Definitely not like some of the Romance languages like French, where you get up into the 60. 60 is a certain word, and then 70 is like 60 plus 10, and then 80 is like 420. So there are other languages that are a little bit more difficult to learn the numbers, but Spanish is definitely, it's closer to the way that English creates the numbers, so it's somewhat easier. All right, so we have 31, which is 31, 31, or quickly is 31. 32, which is 32, 32, 32. 33, which is 33, 33, or quickly is 33. All right. So my best guess, and I just thought of this, and I don't know if this is the case, but if you look at 20, it's 20. It ends in an E. And so my guess is that because it ends in an E and you have an I, they drop the E and they changed the Y to an I and kind of just joined it together for pronunciation purposes, because all of these end in A. So that, I don't know if that has something to do with it. I don't know. I'll look it up. I'll let you know. We're going to do numbers again because there's a lot of numbers, an infinite amount. All right, so 40 is 40, 40. So it would follow the same pattern, 41, 42, 43. All right. 50, 50, same thing, 51, etc. 60 is 60, 70 is 70. So how to remember which one is 60 and which one's 70 is that 6 is 6, so 60 is 60, and 7 is 7, so 70 is 70, so it has the T in it. So you might get them confused for a little bit. I've had students that get these two confused, but I try to tell them it's like 6 is 6 and 7 is 7, so the T is transferred to 70, 70. All right, 80 is 80, 80. 90 is 90, 90. And then 100 is 100, 100. Now, when it changes to 101, 100 becomes ciento. Okay? Why? It just is. I don't know. I'll look that up too. I'll figure some of this stuff out if you're interested. I'll try to look it up and see why it changes like that. My best guess is that most of the changes that occur within Spanish is for pronunciation's sake, to make it sound good, so that it's not 101, it's 101, right? Which we'll see on the next slide. All right, so now here you have 31 through 90, so you got 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. All right, so just practice these. If you forget how to say them, go back and review. And then you can also, I think you can type them into Google Translate and it will translate it into Spanish, and then it'll tell you how to pronounce them. All right. Here's what I was talking about with the 100. So 101, it changes to, and this is 101, 102, 140, whatever. It all changes to ciento. Ciento, excuse me, 101. It's one of those days. All right, so we got 101, which is 101. 101. 200, this is what I was talking about before with 20. 200 through 900, that all becomes one word. So you have 200, 300, 400, etc. So 200 is 200, so it's literally 2 hundreds. has an S. 200. 300, 300. 400, 400. 500, 500. So this one changes. 500 changes to 500. 500. So it's not 500, it is 500. Why? My guess is pronunciation. So you're not saying 500. That's a lot of S sounds. So I don't know if that's the case. It also could be based in something that happens in the Latin. I don't know. Just remember that the ones that are different are 500. 700 is kind of following the pattern of 70, 70. This is 700. It doesn't have the I like in siete. All right, and then 900 and 9 is nueve, but here it drops the UE and adds an O, which is, I believe, from it. It's the literal Latin word for 9, maybe. I don't know. It's like in November. November is the 9th month. October was the 8th month. September was the 7th month. December is the 10th month, which is weird because now it's the 12th in our culture, but that's literally what it meant. Okay, so we got 500, 500, 500, and then 600 is 600, 600, 700, 700, 700, 800, 800, 800, 900 is 900, 900, and then 1000 is 1000, 1000. You don't need the one, it's not uno mil. You might see un mil in certain contexts, but we'll get into that later. That's like we'll get into it later. I won't overburden you with this. So, and we'll go over numbers a little bit later too, especially when we're talking about dates, and then we'll talk about time and fractions and decimal points and stuff like that, money. We'll talk about all that stuff. We'll even go over a business aspect of Spanish. So, in fact, I'll create a lesson based off of, I took a business class that was all in Spanish. I still have my business book. Actually, I have 2 copies. And we'll go over some of the stuff in that when we specifically do topical subjects like medical, business, motivation, whatever the topic is, landscaping, construction, all that. I don't know. We'll do topical studies. That way, we cover a specific topic, and you will have the vocabulary to be able to talk about things that are happening in that topic. All right. All right. So that was 11 through 1000. Was it 11? I don't remember. Yeah, it was 11 through 1000. It could have been. I don't know what it was. Whatever it was what it was. So I forgot already. So anyways, well, these are tips for practicing Spanish. I've already gone over them several times in other videos. I'll do it again quickly, but I'm not going to get too bogged down by it. Just remember, read books, articles, whatever, in Spanish, and do it out loud in a loud voice. All right, get journals, notebooks, write down vocabulary, write down sentences, kind of break it down, use it to study, and read it while you're writing it. The more senses you use in learning, the more you will be able to retain the information. And then if you can add emotion to it, it also helps you to remember. All right, watch shows. This is where some emotion can come into. Like if you watch shows that you can put in Spanish or have Spanish subtitles, then you can watch it in English with Spanish subtitles, watch it in Spanish with English subtitles, watch it in Spanish with Spanish subtitles, and get a notebook and kind of do so proactively, like write down words that you hear that you didn't know before, or phrases or whatever. I wouldn't suggest putting your device in Spanish yet. If you're just basic, if you're a beginner, I wouldn't do that until you get up to a higher level. I mean, if you, I mean, if you can do what you want, but I would not suggest it. All right, listen to podcasts, books, or lessons in Spanish. Audible has a bunch of books that are kind of like lessons, but I'll give my honest critique of them is that it's just like this is what the word is in English, this is what it is in Spanish. English word, Spanish word. English word, Spanish word. So it's not really like using them in a structural sense in a sentence or anything like that. So it's good for maybe learning vocabulary, but actually using the vocabulary. Um, I wouldn't necessarily use the lessons. I would do books, and if you want to learn like pronunciation and stuff like that, I would do like books that are all in Spanish. I've told you what I do with certain books. I do have Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill that I have in 3 different languages. I've got other bilingual books. In fact, I should stop buying books because uh, my wife might kill me. Not really, but she might, put an end to me. But I need to stop buying books until I've read all the books I have. That's basically what I gotta do. All right, so set a time every day. Set a some time every day to study and to create. You can create your own quizzes. You can create your own crosswords. You can create your own word searches. There are tools out there that you can do anything and create your own flashcards, whatever helps you to learn. All right. Make friends on social media. That's probably a really good way of learning is to make a friend who is native in the language that you're learning and, try to practice with them. Although what I've found is that it takes it takes the right person. It's you got to weed through a bunch of people they only want to practice what language they're learning. They don't want to necessarily like help you with the language that you're learning. They say they do, but then they end up speaking to you only in the language they're learning. It can get frustrating. Or people that want to date, they always um, like there are weird people out there. I've run across a few who hit on you, male or female. I've had both that just hit on you and you're wanting to learn a language and they're being very inappropriate. I don't get offended by it, but I don't want to talk to you if you're gonna like hit on me. I'm a married man. I don't want anybody else. Like I told my wife, I don't want anybody else. If I wanted another wife, obviously I would have to get divorced. So, and then maybe I might consider a woman, but I'm not. No way a man is gonna be my next partner. And I'm not homophobic. I'm straight. Sorry. Well, any guy out there who wants me. Yeah, I'm not upset about it. All right. Anyways, join Facebook groups and subscribe to Spanish YouTube videos and to you can do Rumble as well. Get books all in Spanish and get them on topics that you want to learn. Or even you can get bilingual books. I have a few bilingual books. I even have a trilingual book. It's multilingual. And I'm working on a few things that are multilingual. And I'm hoping that I can have more time, especially this winter. If it doesn't snow a lot, I can have a lot more time to work on some of these things. And, look for those types of things. I've got a lot of bilingual books. It's easier to find it in Spanish than it is other languages, but I've got books in Brazilian Portuguese, and I've got books in French. And then I've got just lesson plans, whatever. I mean, whatever you can use. Use whatever you can. You got to immerse yourself in the language. Immerse it. Immerse your entire life. Um, pick a day where all you have to do is talk in Spanish. And if you don't know how to say something, write it down in English, look it up, learn how to say it in Spanish, ask a native speaker if it's correct, because if you Google Translate, it might not be completely accurate, but ask them and get feedback, and you gotta immerse yourself to really learn a language. People say, "Oh, I tried learning and I couldn't because I couldn't remember." Yeah, you can't remember because you're only using it 5 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day, or you're only using Duolingo or one of the other apps, which I'm gonna do videos on the different apps and which ones I like, or maybe I like certain aspects of them and what I don't like. And my friend Anna and I think we're gonna have a Zoom meeting tonight and talk about some of the stuff that we're planning on doing that we're gonna add to the website so that it helps you to learn. All right. And then enjoy the process. Don't worry about getting it right. Don't worry about messing up. Don't worry about being wrong. Don't worry about thinking that you're not getting it and that it's never going to happen. If you start thinking that way, it's never going to happen because you're going to give up. You got to keep on with anything. It's like if you learn anything, you have to keep on practicing. You got to keep on making mistakes. You got to keep on learning. You just got to learn. I mean, you are not going to become perfect in anything overnight. So all these programs that say that you will become completely fluent in 30 days or 60 days or 6 months or whatever, they're not being intellectually honest with you. They're just trying to sell you whatever it is that they're selling, you know. And some of these things I'm going to actually, I'm going to try to, if I don't already have them, like these apps, these programs, I'm going to try to utilize them in future videos. Like I will learn a specific language and use the app or whatever, or critique it or whatever, and I will let you guys know so that you don't have to go out and buy like these apps or buy these programs and have them not work. Now, nothing is going to work if you don't set aside the time to work on it. So it doesn't matter how many apps you buy. If you don't set aside the time to actually work on it, and if you're not consistent, it's not going to work. So you can learn a language with 20 minutes a day. It's going to take a really long time, but you can do it. You just got to be consistent, and eventually you'll pick up on a lot of it. I mean, especially if they do, you know, I forget what it's called. Pimsleur does it where it's you get to where you almost forget something, and then and then they'll remind you of it, and it helps you to retain it. And in fact, I was using Pimsleur for Romanian, and it actually helped me to remember certain things. I had to listen to the lessons over and over again, but it did help to retain the information. So, um, you know, it is definitely something that's good to do, but you have to be consistent and you got to do it every day. Um, in fact, what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to be dividing my week up into like blocks of time where I'm going to be focusing on one of the languages, and I'll try to use certain apps for certain languages and see if how effective the apps are and kind of give you my opinion on them. I've already got a few apps that are specifically for a language that I'm learning. So, like for example, Rosetta Stone, it's set on Brazilian Portuguese, and Jump Speak, I've got that, and it's set on French. Some of the other ones, I have multiple languages selected, so I go from one language to another. But I will give you the pros and the cons of each app, and I've also got ideas for my own app. Well, yeah, I'm not going to tell you what they are. I need to learn how to program apps. I don't want to have somebody working on it because I want to be able to program it and make it. I know how to do basic programming for like HTML and all that stuff, but Java, all that. I've gone to school for that kind of stuff, but um, I haven't done it in a while, so I'll have to remind myself how to do certain things. But I don't know if that's what you would use for programming apps. I know website-wise, you can have the website be adaptable to smaller devices, but um, I don't know. I'll look around. I'll have to continue to seek. But I have ideas for games that would be pretty pretty cool to have for language. That's another thing that you can use. I should add that to the list is video games. You can there for example, I have Call of Duty Mobile, and there are people that are from all over the world. Now, it's not going to be very consistent. I don't know if you can put it, I haven't tried putting it in Spanish. I'm sure you can put it in Spanish. But if you have a video game, you can put it in another language if you like playing a certain video game, and you can just play your video game, have fun, and then listen to like the people talking in whatever language. I don't know which ones allow it, but it shouldn't be a hard thing to do. So, but these are just tips for you to learn. Enjoy the process. Don't get worked up. Don't get embarrassed if you make a mistake. Don't care. Nobody's gonna care. They might laugh at you. They might think it's funny. I've gotten made fun of for mispronouncing things, but I do it in English too, so it happens. So, anyways, hopefully that's helpful. And in the next one, we'll go through 1001 through 1 billion, and then we'll have a quiz, and I will think about the lesson 3. I was thinking about basic expressions, and maybe telling time and dates and stuff. I don't know. So I'll think about that a little bit more. But my name is Joseph. This is Elemental Codes, and I am the bearded linguist. Soy el lingüista barbudo. So I will see you in the next video. All right. So hasta luego. Ciao, ciao.